It's time for City Beat, your source for all the latest news on the city of Thompson. Only on 102.9 CHTM, your radio station.
Good morning and welcome to City Beat here on 102.9 CHTM. I'm Monika Gul and joining me today is Mayor Dennis Fenske. Welcome to the studio.
Morning, Monika.
If you have a question for the mayor, you can call us at 677-8181 or email CHTM@arcticradio.ca. To start things off, what's happened in the city this past week?
Basically, I'd like to start with a proclamation, and by virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of Thompson, I hereby proclaim the month of March 2015 as Nutrition Month in the city of Thompson. And also, big weekend coming up this weekend at the TRCC. Two big events. The Thompson Midget AA King Miners are starting their playoffs. They're playing against the against the Paw Huskies on Friday evening at 7:30, and then Saturday at 8 p.m. If the third game's required, it'll go at 3 o'clock on Sunday. And going along with that is the novice hockey tournament. Big tournament, 4 teams from Thompson plus many from out of town, and they're playing on Friday and all the way through the weekend. So again, TRCC, a busy place for the weekend. The last week, not much happening. We had only 3,000 or 4,000 people go through the TRCC for Rogers Hometown Hockey. I want to congratulate all of the organizers, the volunteers, the residents that came out. It was a fantastic weekend for everyone. Lots of free stuff for the kids, lots of activities, nothing but positive comments, and it was a great way to change the time and go into to spring, the start of spring, and so it was just a positive experience for everybody. So, and also to again reinforce that the broadcasts Sunday evening with the half-hour pregame show went national, and so great exposure for the city of Thompson and its residents and the region, surrounding region. So again, hats off to all the organizers, the volunteers, and the residents for doing a great job. And Rogers was certainly appreciative. They stated that of the 21 to date, we're on a per capita basis the highest turnout and probably in the top 3 for quality. So kudos to everybody that was involved.
Oh, well, not like it's a competition or anything. And yeah, as you said, it was a big weekend, hockey weekend, big weekend in the city. I'm sure you had a chance to speak with Ron McLean during his visit. What did he say about his stay in Thompson?
He really enjoyed it. He really loved the atmosphere, the hospitality, the openness of everybody. And I got to admire Ron McLean. I mean, he is a professional and he does his research, but he's a really down-to-earth, nice guy. I watched him interact with people, kids. He was down on one knee, looking right at eye level. He was concentrating on everybody's conversation as if you were the only person in the room. So just a fantastic experience with Ron. So hats off to him and the whole Rogers crew. Maggie, who was one of the main spearheaders of the program, just excellent people to work with, and again, a absolute positive experience for all of us.
Yeah, for sure. Now I'm going to go back a few weeks and quickly talk about Expo North. Do we know how that went?
Again, another successful program ran or hosted in the TRCC and UCN areas. Again, we're getting more and more larger events because of the facilities that we have. From all indications from the organizers, very well received. Again, they'll be back again next year, and it's due to the resources that we have here, the facilities that we have here, the people that we have here. So again, it's a nice thing to see that the TRCC and UCN are coming into its own in regards to a hosting facility. And as I said, Rogers was here last weekend. They were very impressed with everything. And again, this coming weekend we've got another couple events happening. So very busy place. It's a real diamond for our community to have this facility in the community.
For sure. Now we've been getting some warmer weather. I don't want to jinx us, but with the warmer weather, is the cold weather policy still in effect?
It is. It's still in effect. The break point is minus 35. Knock on wood. Hopefully, we won't see that again. But we have seen a lesser than normal use of that, and that's due to the Northern Doorway project that we have and other programs that are happening. That the shelter hasn't seen an overflow or a need for that, but it's still there. It definitely serves a purpose. Just along with the changing of the weather, I know down south in Winnipeg they've closed the skating path on the river. We're not quite there yet, but in regards to snow, if you'll notice downtown today on Selkirk and Thompson Drive that we've moved the snow to the center of the aisle, separating the two lanes. That will be removed, but just be cautious of the heavy equipment that we will be working around those areas over the next few days.
Okay. I just want to remind listeners that if they have a question for the mayor, they can call 677-8181 or email chtm@arcticradio.ca. Now, Greg Selinger is remaining as premier of the province after the leadership convention this past weekend. What are your thoughts on the outcome?
Well, I think it was a good process. Obviously, one that came about through certain circumstances, and at the end of the day, the delegates put Mr. Selinger back in the premier's chair. We'll move forward as a province and as a government. Hopefully, we'll get things going. I mean, the magnitude of the leadership process took away from the day-to-day operation of the government. So hopefully, that will pick up now that the smoke is cleared and there's a clear leader in place, and we'll see where we go from there. I am traveling to Winnipeg on the weekend for meetings on Monday with a couple ministers on some issues from Thompson, so hopefully they will be up to speed and able to discuss and move on with the government or the business of the day of government.
Now, I know that Greg Selinger, he had met with City Council when he was in Thompson a few weeks ago, and some issues had been discussed, such as understaffing at provincial offices, the waiving of income assistance contribution, and LGD, just to name a few. Are the discussions on these issues between the city and province still ongoing?
Yes, and that's part of my meeting on Monday. I'm meeting with two specific ministers, Minister Chief and Minister Caldwell, to discuss those exact issues in regards to income assistance and the rate that we're currently paying. The LGD and the amalgamation of that, as well as the outflowing of government positions that have not been backfilled. We've seen people retire or move off to other positions, and the positions haven't been backfilled, and we're being serviced out of Winnipeg, and that's not acceptable for our community. We need the resources here in the north. We need the people in the seats in the offices in the north, and so that's what I'll be lobbying for, to ensure that those seats are filled and that they are for to be employees of the government of Manitoba, but situated in Thompson, not on Broadway.
Okay, and will the community safety officers also be discussed?
Absolutely. We have just finalized the training process. We have advertisements going out for community safety officers. We'll do a recruiting process, and then there'll be, I believe it's a 6-week training process. The goal is to have boots on the ground by the first week of June, and barring any other circumstances, I think we're good to go there.
Okay. And Greyhound has recently stopped its day route from Thompson to Winnipeg. What effects, if any, do you think this will have on the city?
Well, it's definitely an effect on the city and the accessibility to the south and the accessibility from the south to the north. We will be writing a letter to Greyhound. The stats that they provided, our understanding is that for instance, a rider coming from Gillam to Thompson and then continuing on to Winnipeg wasn't included in the rider numbers from Thompson to Winnipeg. So, in fact, there may be only 7 people traveling from from Thompson to Winnipeg. There may have already been 14 people on the bus. So we're questioning the numbers. We understand it's a business, but in the same sense, there's a certain obligation to provide transportation to those that don't have access or means of their own. And so we will be discussing both with Greyhound and the province to ensure that Northerners have that access to the south and that they can have return access as well.
Did Greyhound let the city know before they made the announcement that they were cutting down the service?
No, basically the letter is provided as it is discussed with the province and with the city of Thompson, and basically it's a business decision that they announce, and we will react to that as we are preparing a letter and conversations with Greyhound.
Okay. And then for, I guess, the last little bit, tell us what's happening this upcoming week.
This week, it's a busy week, as I mentioned, that this weekend is very busy at TRCC with a couple hockey tournaments. We will be, some councillors traveling to Winnipeg next week for the AMM meetings and city caucus, so there'll be some discussions on that. Just a reminder as well in regards to the speed zones in schools, the signage is all now up and appropriate for the bylaw. The bylaw was in effect the day after it was read and accepted. But the signage outlining that it is from 7 till 5 on Monday to Friday for June to September to June is in effect for elementary schools only. The speed limit on Thompson Drive in front of the R.D. Parker returns to 50 kilometers per hour. And so just to be aware that the signage is up and around the elementary schools and to obey the signage that's there.
Perfect. That's this edition of City Beat. Join us every Thursday around 11:30 for more on what's happening around Thompson and City Hall. For 102.9 CHTM, I'm Monika Gul.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning.